Make sure this volume.
All right. Thanks, Marissa. Hi, everyone. We are live. It is the Boozy Book Pods. I had to. I love Halloween puns. I think they're so fun. Welcome, everyone, to the October Boozy Book Pods. Our guest of honor tonight is Jen DeLuca. Welcome, Jen.
And then hi.
Yeah, and then also, just so everyone knows, Angelina, we love you, but we miss you. She's busy. She's at a conference right now. But filling in for her is the fabulous Kelly Farmer. Thank you so much, Kelly, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun night. Hopefully everyone thinks so. We all came. We all have our little costumes, our Zoom-friendly costumes. And so before we jump into our discussion, I do want to just run through some housekeeping real quick. Melanie is the room mom tonight. She will be monitoring the chat. Everyone knows at this point, I also, even when I'm hosting, I look at the chat. So if I'm looking up and over to the side, that's what I'm doing. Remember, if you take part in our very fun chat, you will be entered to win a $10 Love Sweet Arrow gift card. We will randomly choose a winner at the end of the night. So definitely leave as many comments, send in questions. We will save time for the end for questions, and I will remind everyone throughout the night to look or to send them in. So we have lots to chat about. Next up, remember, head to lovesweetarrow.com for information about buying books by all of our lovely authors. We are so excited to be able to support our favorite independent bookseller. It's really fun, and they do a really awesome job. So we want to keep supporting them. And then finally, last thing I want to get into before we move on to the fun, our merch of the month this month is really cool. Love Sweet Arrow is making blind date book boxes. This is going to be a surprise box with a few gently used books to get you out of a reading slump. It's something that I think is such a fun idea. You get a box of books and you hopefully will find something you want to read. So the discount code for tonight that you can only get here is BBB OCT, OCT discount. And that's good for 10% off of the blind surprise or blind date surprise box. So that'll be fun. So definitely head to the website, and as soon as we have that information up, we will get it in the chat. So now let's move on. Let's go around and talk about what we are drinking this evening. So Jen, let's start with you.
I am drinking a slightly disappointing pineapple cider from Trader Joe's, but I put it in one of my Renfair tankards, so it makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But hard cider is definitely my thing.
Love it. Yeah, I do too. I love, it's like any variety. I'm here for it. Okay, so Kelly, what are you having tonight?
Well, I bought some apple cider because I thought that'd be nice and refreshing, but it's pretty cold tonight, actually. So I threw it in the microwave. So now I'm having hot cider.
Ooh, even better.
I love that. Okay, Melanie, how about you?
So there is actually at Aldi's a Pear Prosecco cider. If you've never tried it, Jen,
I think I've had. Is it a woodchuck? No, not woodchuck.
I don't think it's actually woodchuck brand, but yeah, it's a Pear Prosecco.
I know that they do one, but I've had that before. It's so good.
Out of it. But I did pick up this instead. It's a cherry Kolsch, Kolsch is a light beer, which I usually don't do beer, but Kolsch is pretty light. So, and it's cherry. So
that's good.
Awesome. Yeah. I've got it's my Powell's glass that I really love, my Powell's beer glass, but it's just an Angry Orchard, kind of like the old standard cider. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. When I used to volunteer at the Renaissance Fair, we sold cider, and it was mostly woodchuck brand. And they had this one, like all of it was donated because all of the stuff is donated. Like I think it was Anheuser-Busch that donated the drinks. And it was like two different kinds of cider. We went through them. And then towards the end of fair, I went to grab like a case of cider, and it was this one that was like a bourbon barrel aged cider or something like that. Yeah. And it was, so us wenches stole a couple of bottles and saved them for the end of the day. And then, and it was probably the best cider. I still think about that cider like 5 years later. And I have not seen it since. Every so often I Google seeing if it was I think it was a woodchuck brand, but it drives me nuts because I can't find it again. It's almost like it was some kind of apparition. or something. It was probably just a limited edition that they don't make anymore. But
Yeah. No, that sounds really good.
Cider that on there. It was so good. Like it was just like a little bit smoky, like that almost a little bit of bourbon taste smoke. Oh God, it was so good. It was so good. Anyway, I digress.
Let's like speak this into existence so it happens again. Like make
bring it back.
Cider.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go on to our shots. These are our icebreakers. This is to get our night started. We're gonna have fun. So I want to get basic. Are you fans of pumpkin spice or not? Jen, you're gonna go first like all night. So Jen,
okay, no, I'm not. I'm not a fan. I am a fan of the concept. I think that I love when people look forward to it. The protagonist in my second book, Well Played, was a big fan of pumpkin spice lattes. That was like her thing. So, and I know that some people just adore it. I tried it once and it's just not me. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of pumpkin pie anyway. So that's probably, I'm not the audience for it really. I go for the other seasonal drinks.
Yeah, when
it gets to be peppermint mocha time, I'm all about it.
Right. There we go. All right, Melanie, what about you?
So I do not like the PSL. I'm not a fan of that, but like Jen, I like if it brings joy to people, like more power to them. It's funny because the heroine I'm writing right now, she is also a big fan of the PSL and is expecting to be mocked for it,
Yeah.
But if it makes you happy, yeah. But I do love the pumpkin scones from Starbucks that they do right now.
Oh, okay.
Those are good. And I honestly, anything else pumpkin spice flavored besides the latte, like pumpkin spice, pumpkin bread and pumpkin spice granola, pumpkin spice, like all that stuff. Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Kelly, how about you?
I'm kind of like Melanie, where it's like the pumpkin spice. Wow. The latte is fine, but I love pumpkin spice, and I actually have like a little McCormick's pumpkin spice to like put in oatmeal and other things. So
okay.
Yeah, so I do like the actual spice, but it doesn't need to be in everything.
Right.
Do we really need pumpkin spice bacon and pumpkin spice? I've just seen some weird stuff.
Yeah, right.
Interesting ones, yes.
Yeah, I feel like I am kind of aligned. I will say I usually get at least one pumpkin spice latte. Like I feel like it just like starts the season, but also the problem is that, I think we're all basically referring to Starbucks. I know other coffee places do it, but Starbucks every year it comes out, like it seems like a little earlier every year. So I'm pretty sure I did a pumpkin spice latte like at the end of August. And I was like, I don't know. Why did I do this? I don't need this. So
that was something I legitimately researched when I wrote Well Played. It was like, when does pumpkin spice latte season start? Because she like buys it on the first day. So that was literally something I had to research. And I'm like, that's one of those things where I'm looking it up and I'm like, this is my life, that this is the kind of thing I need to know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love it. Okay. So our next shot is, this is a little, it's niche. I'm about to say the word niche a lot, or niche, if you will. Jen, you write about Ren fairs. Melanie, you created a rom-com theme park. Kelly, you write about like kind of the insular world of hockey. My upcoming book coming out next summer is about boudoir photography. These are all really specific things. So I was wondering, what's another niche topic you want to write about? And I thought it'd be fun for our people watching to say, like, what is something you want to see be written about? So we'll go through their answers, but let's start. So Jen, we're going to start with you. What's something that you want to write about that's kind of specific?
So my other niche thing that I actually, when I mentioned it to my agent, she about had a fit. She's like, please, please, please write me this book. Right out of college, I worked backstage on ice shows as a dresser. So I used to strip down ice skaters and put them into other costumes. And the shows were like these theme park shows. So they were like usually movie oriented. So my big claim to fame in 1994 was that I could take the guy who was dressed up as Wayne from Wayne's World, strip him down and put him into a Klingon costume in less than 1 minute. So be that, take that as you will.
That's the most 1994 thing ever said.
Right? It really is. It really, really is. So that was something that when I mentioned to my agent that was something that I did in my career at some point, she was like, oh my God, write me an ice skating book, write me an ice show book. So it's kind of in the back of my mind that it would be really fun to write when I have absolutely no idea what the plot would be. I don't know how to find my way into that setting, but it's something that I think about every so often. I need to figure something out with that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Melanie, what is your next great niche topic going to be?
Oh, I get superstitious talking about this.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
No, just like I don't know. Just like putting it into the universe, and then if it doesn't happen, because I have a couple of things cooking that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay, I understand. I know what you mean. All right. Okay.
Nobody can like with the Jen thing, like that is the nichest of niche, and it's amazing and awesome.
I love it. All right, Kelly, what do you think?
Well, it's sort of similarly to Jen. My background is in theater, and I have forever wanted to write like a series that takes place in a community theater troupe, because the real drama happens off stage. I mean, so much drama. Yeah. Like I've like thought like casual be about plots and stuff, but the thing that always trips me up is like shows and copyrights and that kind of stuff. And it's one of those things like that's a headache for another day. But I think that there's just so much you can do with that.
There really is.
Oh God. I mean, oh God.
So mine is very specific. Like, I think it would only appeal, to like romance authors and readers very specifically. But I was kind of thinking about, remember way back when there was RT Book Reviews or, Romantic Time magazine, and their conference, which has now become the Book Lovers Convention, but it used to be the RT Book Lovers Convention. And they used to be kind of like, I never went to one that was like in its heyday, but there were like cover models running around. There were a lot of shenanigans from what I hear. And I just think
shenanigans.
So I just feel like that is like that would be such a fun place. It's one of those things like, like all of the Christopher Guest movies that like kind of pick like a very specific topic and then really lean into it. Like, I wish someone would do that to like romance, like the romance writer conventions, like RT and Art, like together. I think that'd be so funny. So I think that would be like the perfect writer's playground, but it would have to be like kind of a Romance Landia project, like very specifically aligned to Romance Landia.
Like that would be a fun, like almost anthology project, to have like, to get like a bunch of different authors to write, like each write a story set at the same conference. So characters are kind of weaving in and out of each other's stories and stuff. That would be really fun.
Yeah, it's like brainstorming.
Just throwing that out there.
I know.
I love your idea of making it like a Christopher Guest movie, though.
Yeah.
Because, I can like picture all the characters, of
exactly
the stereotypes of different authors.
Awesome. Okay, so now this is going to be our last shot, but it's a fun one. It's a good one. So everybody watching, get your TBRs ready, because we are going to give some paranormal romance recommendations, either recent or a longtime favorite. Where do you go for your spooky reads this time of year? So Jen, we're going to start with you.
I'm not huge on paranormal. I used to be like back in the early, I want to say what is this, like late 90s, early 2000s. I was really into like the Dark Hunter books, the Sherilyn Kenyons, like back in the day. I kind of fell off of those after a while, but those early ones are really fun. I have no idea if they hold up now. They probably don't. Nothing holds up, right? But I was big into those. Some of the early, like the J.R. Wards, those were always fun. I just got my copy of The Ex-Hex by Aaron Sterling, so I'm super excited to read that. I feel like that's going to be really fun, like witchy read for this time of the month or this time of the year. What else am I reading lately? Oh, I actually am reading Big Bad Wolf by Cider Snyder right now, and I'm sure y'all are familiar with that because I know y'all know her. But that book is so cool. I'm finding it like fascinating because just the way that it's like, I mean, her world building is just so specific and so good. Like, it really doesn't, I'm trying to figure out how to articulate it. It doesn't read like fantasy or like urban fantasy. It just reads like a contemporary that, oh yeah, there's shifters in here. And oh yeah, it is kind of an alternate New York or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's hard to articulate it, but it's just genius to me. Like, I feel like I'm reading a contemporary book that happens to have shifters in it.
Yeah.
But because it's just so well done and so grounded. I'm in awe of her, the way she did that.
I 100% agree. We just read that in the Love Sweet Arrow book club, the one that meets in person. And it gives you a lot to talk about.
Yes.
It's I mean, her world building is spot on. I really enjoyed that. Okay, Melanie, how about you?
I did go through, actually it was after like Smart Bitches had like a professor or someone like do reviews of the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and it was like these hilarious kind of like breakdowns of the storylines. I'm like, okay, I just have to dive into this like bananas-ness world.
Yeah,
and
it's
I got
bananas.
quite a few, and it was like you just have to embrace it and go for the ride, because it is something.
You do. Yeah, it's exactly.
But I love time travel. So time travel for me, the Karen Marie Moning books, those are my jam. And I love all the witchy books that are coming out. And I like the X-Hex, and like there's just so many, Witch Please, and Payback's a Witch. Like there's so many that are coming out right now.
So fantastic.
It's
exciting. I know. I love it.
Love those books. And I did listen to Alexis Daria's What the Hacks, which is on Audible only right now. Super cute and short and lots of fun. And when she was drafting it, I'm like, this sounds like the plot of a My Little Pony cartoon. And it was, but it's, because it's like the groom is possessed by a demon before the wedding. So it's super fun.
Love that.
And that.
Okay. Yeah. Kelly, how about you?
I was thinking for a paranormal series. Shauna Kelly has the Sam Quinn series.
This week.
Yeah. The third book just hit the USA Today bestseller list.
Amazing.
And I think she's a Golden Heart sister of mine. Is she of yours, Melanie?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm always happy for our sisters. And it's a super fun series. There's 3 books. It's basically supernatural San Francisco. And Sam runs the Slaughtered Lamb bookstore and bar. And basically, if you're looking for supernatural folk of all kinds, you're set. You're good here.
Nice.
And the other one I have is Jeanette Alexander had a book come out in August called I Kissed a Girl, and it takes place on a horror movie set. So there are
fun.
so many Easter eggs. If you are a horror movie fan, you will delight in the Easter eggs.
Okay, I will share. I'm going to pop in and share a niche thing. Okay, here it is. So I used to work in a haunted house. For several years in October, Six Flags Fright Fest.
Oh my God. Talk about stories, Fright Fest.
Right? That'd be amazing.
So I do have plotted, like you have fast plot when your brain is like vomiting ideas. I do have a plot for a story set in the people who work in the haunted house and the behind the scenes. Yes,
that's cute.
The stories there.
Yeah.
I've known a lot of people who've done Fright Fest. Yeah.
Well, actually, most of my fellow Fright Festers were also Ren people. Like
that makes sense.
Across the board, like they would do Fright Fest in October, and they had just come off of Ren Fair.
Awesome.
It totally makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, my pick is, I'm just going to do one because I agree. I think you all have mentioned the ones that I had on my list. Yes, I'm really into the witch books. First of all, there are so many right now, and it's the perfect time of year. So I'm very excited. So just if you Google witch romance novels, they'll all pop up. But one I do want to recommend, I think it came out a few years ago, but it's by Talia Hibbert, which I know we all know and love Talia Hibbert for writing the Brown Sisters. And then she's also self-published some books that are all kind of set in like the English countryside. They're very, very great. They're so funny. There's a lot of banter, but she did write a novella called Mating the Huntress. And it is about a woman whose family hunts werewolves. And of course, who does she fall in love with? A werewolf.
I wonder.
And it's so fun. It has kind of the signature Talia Hibbert like banter and just snappy dialogue, really fun, really sexy. But then there's also like trying to stab werewolves. It's great. And hunt them down. Yes, as you do. So, so those were our shots. We are going to move on to our main discussion. But before we do, this is not on the agenda. This is super special because someone on this panel hit the USA Today bestseller list this week. And it's Melanie, because her anthology that she wrote with a bunch of amazing other authors hit the list this week. So I want to raise a glass and give a toast to Melanie. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a surprise blessing because like there are anthologies who set out to do that. This anthology has never been that. When we did the first one last year, Jingle Balls, it was really about having fun and doing something for a good cause because every penny is donated to the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation.
Yeah.
And you know, it was so exciting when it happened. And then this time, you know, because you know the same thing, we're like, if you're in this, you know that you're not in it for that. That's not why we're in it. We're not doing these various tricks and things that people will do to try and I use the word trick. It's more like there's planning that has to happen and money that needs to usually be spent in order to do that. And we don't do that. So it's really a testament to the readers for being so amazing, for supporting a good cause. And this year, Tinsel and Tatas, all the money raised went to the Young Survival Coalition, which is for people who are diagnosed with breast cancer before the age of 40. And the book is on sale still all the way till November 5th. So if you haven't picked it up yet, go grab your copy. It's still 99 cents. You can get it for under $1 up until the 19th. And then after that, it goes up a little bit. But again, every penny to charity. So, you know, the extra $2 is going to a good cause. My short story in the anthology is kind of a companion piece to Too Good to Be Real. So if you've read Too Good to Be Real, you'll recognize some of the characters. It was fun to go back to the rom-com resort, and it's dedicated to a friend, my friend Donna, who passed away at 42 from breast cancer. So
yeah, that is amazing. Of course, we are also proud of you, but I mean, also, I just want to commend all of you for doing this again, like another anthology for such an amazing and important cause. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting.
I know. I you know how I do. Okay, so now that we've gotten kind of the fun, we've done all the fun things, we're going to do something even more fun because now Jen and I are going to talk about her new book. I feel like this is kind of the book we've all been waiting for. I know that I've been waiting for. Well Matched. We are so excited. This is the third book in your Ren Fair romance series. I want to just give a little backstory because Jen, you and I actually did one of the first in-person ever events at Love Sweet Arrow. I think it was like their second one, or was it the first one? Now I'm getting.
I have no idea. Yeah. It was October of 2019. It was around Halloween. We did a Halloween costume.
It was one of the first kind of one-on-one interview and signings that they did at the store. So I feel very close to your career. And
well, you should.
Yes,
and it was like on Halloween, right? Or right before Halloween?
It was it was the day before. It was the day before Halloween because the next day I went to see Hamilton on Halloween. Yeah.
It was so much fun. And so April, I want to start off by talking about April. We will move on and talk about Mitch because I think that's really who we all want to talk about. But April is a single mother. She's about to become an empty nester. You know, even in book one, we were kind of seeing her transition into having more time for herself. You know, she had spent the last 18 years kind of devoted to her daughter and working. So now she's getting her house ready to go on the market and she's wondering what she really wants to do with this next phase of her life. So I want to just talk about kind of the creation for April. Was there any specific inspiration and what you think of her journey through these three books?
I love her. And I didn't realize how much I loved her until I got to write her voice. It was just like, I connected with her so much when I wrote her. So my original concept for April, and I even remember saying this to my editor the very first time we talked about Well Met, but my concept for April was Lorelai Gilmore who hates Stars Hollow. She's just, she's a single mom. She's got, it's her raising her daughter, us against the world, but she's in this small town. And, if she were in Stars Hollow, she would be so sick of having to go to Luke's every damn day for coffee and having to talk to people who want to know her business. She just wants a Starbucks in her town. People, come on, she doesn't like attention. She's very, very much, she's very private. She's very introverted. She doesn't like, if she's in a group with her friends talking, she doesn't want the topic to turn to her. She'd rather just sort of hang out in that group and listen to what they're talking about and maybe throw in, an opinion now and then. But then if it becomes, well, how are you, April? She's gonna, no, she doesn't want to talk about it. She's just very, very, very closed off. She got married young, she got divorced young, and she just basically put all of her focus on raising her daughter and doing a good job of that. So she hasn't really thought a whole lot about, what she wants for herself. She made this plan probably when they moved to this small town, when her daughter was like 6 years old. She decided, okay, we're going to live here. I'm going to get my kid through school. I'm going to do the thing, get my kid off to college. Then I'm going to get out of here. I want my little apartment in the city. That's my dream. And that was she's just decided that's her dream. And throughout the course of this book, she sticks to it. She said, this is my plan. I've always had this plan. But she kind of starts to realize that maybe plans can change. And maybe the person that you were 10 years ago when you made this plan isn't the same person you are today. Yeah. And you don't have to stick to that plan. It doesn't make you a quitter. It doesn't make you, flaky or anything like that. So I think that's April in a nutshell. Yeah. And so it was a lot of fun to put her with a giant, extroverted golden retriever of a human being. So
yeah, exactly. I was going to say, one of the things that I really appreciated about April is that she is really kind of like comfortable with herself in a way. Like, I think that's different, I think, than the heroines in your previous books, where she she knows herself. She knows herself really well, but because she is so like set in this life. And then also, I thought it was so interesting, like hearing you talk about, made me think of this. It's like, she was like, no, I'm going to do this dream. Like, it's happening. And, and I think I loved that journey where she was like, oh yeah, like you said, like my dream could change. And I think that's just so important for people to understand. And I think a lot of people can relate.
And I think that was something that came of writing a heroine who's a little bit older, in giving her the voice of a 40-year-old as opposed to the voice of like a 25 or a 27-year-old. That younger person is still kind of in that, what am I going to do with my life? What is my life going to be? And when you hit 40, you feel a little more comfortable in your own skin. This is who I am. I don't have to change. I don't have to change like who I am for you. And she doesn't change really who she is. She just kind of changes her perspective a little bit, but she doesn't, it's not like anybody wants her to change who she is. Everybody, she finds out that I think that people love her for who she is. I don't think she realized that before.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. So April, actually, I'm going to transition to the next question. April really isn't all that interested in the Run Fair to begin with. Like, her daughter was really into it. So she's just kind of like, oh, okay, the Run Fair. And of course, Mitch is a huge part of the Run Fair. Right. But before we dive into Mitch and then their relationship to the Run Fair, I want to ask everyone on our panel as well, and then also our people in the chat, who would you be at a Run Fair? Like, what would you do if you absolutely had to work at the Run Fair? What would you do? So Jen.
Well, I spent 2 seasons as a tavern wench. So, that's kind of the obvious answer. So I think that I would want to do something different at this point. I think depending on the Run Fair, if it's in the summertime and it's super hot, I probably wouldn't want to be a royal. Like, I think it would be really fun to be some kind of a royal or a noble person, but they also wear like 50 pounds worth of clothes. So, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe if it's a fair that takes place in the wintertime, I will do that. But other than that, I think it would be fun to wear fancier clothes than I usually wear at the Run Fair.
Yeah. All right, Melanie, how about you? Who would you be at the Run Fair?
I think like one of the traveling minstrels, like someone who gets to like kind of go through the crowds, and like it's like almost like the waitresses at Ed DeVevick's, where their job is to kind of like harass the crowd and tease the crowd, and so yeah, like that would be like waitress at Ed DeVevick's in a Ren Fair gown. Like,
Yeah.
wench at Addams.
Yeah. Okay, Kelly, who would you be?
I think my answer is actually the same as Jen's. I would love to be one of the royals and just sort of stand there in that awesome clothing and just be like, you going
Yeah.
peasants, but not if it's 90 degrees outside.
You could have someone fan you.
Well, they
True.
actually like have fans built into their dresses, like the queen and the
You
the
could
lady.
do that, yeah.
I know
Yeah.
at the Bristol Renaissance Fair that they actually had like mini fans like
Oh my
blowing on them under there because they would have probably died otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, my answer, I was going to say the queen, but mainly just because I'm moderating tonight, like I'm in charge. But now that you mention it, I don't think I want to be wearing all those clothes. So I don't know what I would do. I probably would just have to be a pub wench, but I think I would go Melanie style and kind of be like the super sarcastic, like, you know, just feeding off the crowd kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's part of the fun when you're
Yeah.
a tavern wench is to
Oh,
is to flirt back and to be snarky and oh yeah,
So
totally. You'd love it.
yeah. Okay, so now the main event. Let's talk about Mitch and his kilt. Mostly, let's just talk about his kilt. No, I'm kidding. He stole the show in books 1 and 2. And I also want to talk about his origins, because he kind of started out different than the character he became.
He did. Okay, so to kind of preface, I am one of those writers that plans my books. I outline. I'm not one of those that just sits down at a blank screen and says, let's see what happens, because that gives me hives. I can't do it. I have to have a plot, have a plan. So I figure out who my characters are. And I mean, I definitely like discover as I write, discover, layers to the characters and subplots and that sort of thing. But I definitely have to have a roadmap and I know who these people are when I start them. So Mitch's origin came from a guy who showed up at the Renaissance Fair when I volunteered, absolutely ripped, wearing a kilt and boots, and that was it. And it was like this game of telephone as word spread among the staff members of the fair that this guy was here. It was like, did you see the guy in the kilt? Did you see the guy in a kilt? And I'm like, there's 100 guys in kilts. What are you talking about? And then he came around the lane and was like, oh, that guy in a kilt. Like, I mean, there was no mistaking.
There's a difference between a guy in a kilt and
a guy in a kilt. And I didn't actually speak to him, but some of my other colleagues did. And it was one of those things that was like, and then he opened his mouth and it was disappointing, where it was just sort of, maybe you should just,
it's a dude bro in a kilt.
Just stand there and look pretty, I think I said Gaston in a kilt and everybody was like, yes, that's exactly it. So anyway, at the same time, I was kind of starting to think about writing a book about the Ren Fair. And so my original concept for Mitch was this guy who lived in this small town who was the football star, that guy that never left home, that's, still it's in his, getting towards his 30s and is still kind of reliving his glory days as a high school football star, kind of a bully, kind of a jock. And he was going to be the bad guy, basically. He was going to see once Simon and Emily got together, he was going to kind of try to horn in on that just because he could, because he thought Simon was a weaker kind of guy. And so he was going to, so that was my plan. He was going to be the antagonist. So I started writing this book, and every time I would do a scene that he was in, he wouldn't be a jerk. He would just show up, he'd start fist bumping the kids, he'd be really funny, he'd say some, funny one-liner. And, Stacy, the character Stacy, we already, kind of trusted her as a friend, and she was friends with him. So she wouldn't like him if he were a bad guy. Mm-hmm. So I got really annoyed. I was like, I'm trying to write him as a jerk and he will not be a jerk. And again, I'm somebody who plans. I'm not one of those, oh, the characters tell me what to do. But he wouldn't do it. He would not be a jerk. And so I was trying to figure him out and trying to figure out his deal and how he's going to work into the story if he wasn't going to be a bad guy. And then I got to the scene in Well Met where he talks to Emily at the bar and basically sends her over to Simon's house. And I was like, oh, okay, he ships it. Like he met her and said, oh, she's going to be great for him. And that just kind of unlocked his character to me, where he's just this, really happy person and he wants all of his friends to be happy too. And that's who he is. And that to me was so much more interesting than making him the bad guy. So it became so much more fun to write him that way.
I will say I adore that story. I think that's so fun because I'm the same way. plot my books within an inch of their life. Like I have to be like, stop plotting and just start writing. So
the outlines just get longer and longer and more detailed
Exactly.
until you have a first draft. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, I love that he walked in, stole the show, and demanded a book. And I think it was worth the wait. I really do.
Thank you. And that was also a little bit of the weird part. I was so excited to write his book, but then it was actually when it was time to, I had a little moment of panic because he was the comic relief for 2 books. And it's like, now I have to make him, a fully rounded character. And that was a little daunting, but it was also a lot of fun. That was my pandemic book. That was the book I wrote during most of the pandemic. Yeah. So yeah, I think those books kind of mean a little more too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love that. So my next question has to do, and this is another kind of group question, but there are so many like fun romance tropes in Well Matched. There's fake dating. There's a little grumpy sunshine. I think we can say that April's a little grumpy.
Oh yeah, she's the grumpy one. He's the sunshine one, definitely.
Yeah. Obviously age gap and so on. So I want to start with Jen, but then we'll go around. What is your favorite trope to read personally? And then what's your favorite trope to write? And of course, in the chat, please tell us answer the same. If you like to write it or if you like to read it, what do you love when it comes to reading romance?
God, I mean, I love enemies to lovers. That's honestly kind of my go-to. Probably both to read and to write, just that I love banter. So, I mean, enemies to lovers can give you such good banter because especially when they're starting to fall for each other and they are like, they really don't want to. Yeah. That stuff is so much fun for me. I love that. It's just, it's the best. And I mean, grumpy sunshine can kind of go along with that too. But it was really, for me, it was a lot of fun to explore writing an age gap, and especially writing an age gap that was where the woman was the older one. Usually in a male-female pairing, the man is usually the older one and the woman is the younger. So it was kind of fun to make her the older one instead.
Yeah, that's really fun. So I'm going to call on myself next to like kind of switch things up. But yeah, I think I really love Second Chance to read, because I think there's something about knowing there's already an emotional connection, even though these people kind of usually at the beginning they're apart because it's a second chance. But then exploring those emotions and how they've changed, and then like the people figuring out, oh no, this is the person I've become, then I actually still love you. This is amazing. It's like when they finally get it together, it's so great. And I'm trying to think to write, I think probably writing, I really love writing a grumpy sunshine. And I particularly in male-female pairings, I really like when the woman is the grumpy one. Because
I'm a grumpy woman.
I know.
Absolutely.
It's the best. Okay, next, let's go to Melanie.
So I wrote my first Grumpy Sunshine when I did the last anthology, and she was the grumpy one, he was the sunshine, and that was fun. It was a lot of fun. I think my favorite to read is Fish Out of Water. I love that a lot, and again, that kind of dovetails into the time travel, because oftentimes they're out of their element and kind of fumbling around, and someone who is usually confident and the alpha is like, how does all of this work? I actually just started watching for the first time Sleepy Hollow, the TV series.
Oh yeah,
which I had not seen before, and I hear it goes off the rails at some point, but I'm just starting it, so I'm enjoying it but seeing him kind of 200 years in the future, he wakes up, and the whole like figuring out how all this stuff works, so much. I just love it. It's so much fun.
The first season is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm in the middle of the first season, and the chemistry is amazing, and it's very subtle banter, but well done. It's super fun. So if you haven't watched Sleepy Hollow, it's on Hulu. You can watch it with me. It's really fun. And I think for me, favorite to write, I like to write banter too. And I think that comes through regardless of what I do. So I don't know if it's always necessarily enemies to lovers, but people who maybe there's friction. There's always friction. So I'm trying to think what you would call that. I'm not sure what I would call that, but I do enjoy writing banter, and kind of like people who like enjoy getting the other one's goat. Like the one I'm writing right now, it's actually friends to lovers, which is new for me and very challenging. But what is so much fun is that as friends, nothing they love better than, riling the other one up. So
yeah, that's great. All right, Kelly, how about you?
I'm a grumpy sunshine. I live for a grumpy sunshine. I write them, I read them, I love them.
Yes.
It's just a fun dynamic for me. I think I am a grumpy sunshine person because I can be I think it's just I can be super grumpy, but I'm also like really positive. So I think it just works well for my brain.
Yeah.
I think I also tend to write what Meryl Wilsner calls it idiots to lovers, where it's like these two knuckleheads just cannot figure out why am I feeling feelings, and it's because I like you.
Just kiss already.
Yeah.
Yes,
So.
yes, exactly. Melanie, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Melanie, are there any good responses? I see some.
Yeah, they've got some great responses in the chat. So Julia Diaz Young is talking about enemies to lovers and forced proximity. And that enemies to lovers seems to be a popular one. Enemies to lovers, one bed situation. Yep, that's forced proximity.
Oh, yes.
Fake dating, also only one bed. So forced proximity seems to be a favorite amongst our readers today.
Yeah,
lots of that going on. So
awesome. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit, but you guys have all been kind of bringing this up a bit. The three of you all have backgrounds in theater, and I'd love to know more about how each of you think it helped or influenced your writing. So Jen, let's start with you.
I think that it definitely influenced how I approach characters, and how I write, how I get into their heads. I mostly worked in technical theater. My degree was an emphasis in stage management and costuming. But I did have to take some movement classes and some acting classes and some dance classes. So I did have to kind of be a little, well-rounded as far as all of the different kind of, ways to approach the theater degree. So I definitely learned a lot about how to get into a character's head. So I really kind of that's something that I work very consciously to do when I'm writing, especially since this series is in first person. So you're really in their head, and make sure you really write with their voice. And not just kind of a narrator voice. So I think that getting in, learning how to get into character and really think the way they think. I think the theater degree definitely, the background in theater definitely helped with all of that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Stage managers are the best. They are the unsung they are the unsung heroes.
Oh my God, they're the stage babysitters.
So if anybody wants to write a book with a stage manager, main character, you could have a lot of fun with that.
Talk about grumpy. Yeah.
Oh, there's a grumpy sunshine there for sure.
Right.
Awesome. Kelly, why don't you keep going, expand on all of this.
You know what, it's so funny. When I was a youngling writer and just kind of starting out, I didn't realize how much of like acting stuff I was using in my writing. And then I ended up talking to Ruth Kaufman, who's another Chicago author, actor, who we many moons ago gave this workshop called Improv for Authors, because we realized like we do all these things, like, so let's teach other people how to do these things. But yeah, there's just it's kind of twofold. It's that like getting to know the character and what's your character's motivation, and like really getting to know the people, but also just like the staging of things, like talking heads, like, on stage, if people just sit there and talk, it's boring. Eventually someone's got to like get up and move.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like a lot of little things, and like motivation, you have to enter the stage with a purpose, and you leave with a purpose. And so yeah, it's just, there's just so many things that I sort of feel grateful. And actually one of the other fun things is you learn rejection. Which
oh God, that's true.
I mean, because as an actor, you get a little rejected a lot. So actually it's kind of funny is that it helps you like learn rejection so that it's not quite as devastating. It's devastating in a different way when, you get a manuscript rejection or bad review or something, like you just kind of, you roll with it.
Right. I think that's really important. That's a really good point. I like that. All right, Melanie, how has
I think for me, dialogue is a really big one. You know, and just how writing dialogue and hearing dialogue in my head so easily is just so much a part of, you know, having read scripts for so long and writing scripts, and you know, so that all those elements, and like Kelly was saying, you know, business, like you know, having business to do while you have those lines, and kind of how it kind of just feeds into the story.
yeah.
And I mean everything that they said. So it just kind of, it is. I think we did a Love Sweet Arrow program this year. I think we did about from the stage to the page, about people who had theater backgrounds, performing arts.
Yeah, I think I was on that with you. Yeah.
You were on it. Yeah, who became
Like, wait a second, that sounds really familiar.
performing arts backgrounds who ended up becoming romance authors. And it is fascinating because there are a lot of us. It's like you're either a lawyer or like there's a lot of lawyers.
Yeah,
It's 100% true. You were either a lawyer or you were an actor.
yeah, that makes
A lot of
sense.
that. So yeah.
Yeah, dialogue makes sense because I don't know about you guys, but I find myself, I definitely like read my dialogue out loud and kind of act it out when I'm writing it. Or you know, maybe I just admitted something I shouldn't, but
I hear it, and I feel like I'm just like transcribing what I'm hearing. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, if anyone had a hidden camera on me when I'm like reading through a scene I've just written,
Oh,
I
God.
must look insane.
You're making all the faces.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm acting it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
yeah.
I love that. Okay, so before we move on to kind of our last couple of questions, I want to put out like the last call. If you have a question for Jen or any of the broads, put them in the chat. Remember, the more you chat, the more chances you have to be chosen as our lucky gift card winner at the end of the night. So this is a fun question. And this is also this is going to be a good question for the chat to answer. If you were going to go to a Halloween party this year, and even if you are safely, I hope, what will you dress up as? And tell us why. So Jen.
So, you know, after just saying that I have a theater background, I hate Halloween parties. I'm just not into them. You know, I worked in costuming, and I just like putting on a costume to go to a party to me is just like, oh God, no. I remember one time in college, I was at my boyfriend's dorm, like doing laundry because I think his dorm had laundry and mine didn't or something, his building. So I'm waiting for my laundry, and it was like their Halloween party was going on. And, you know, so there's a bunch of drunk college kids running around, and they were like, oh, what are you dressed as? And I'm like, I'm dressed as a student doing your laundry. I'm like, leave me alone. So that's kind of like, you know, and I've always ended up, you know, working in theater, working backstage on ice shows, I did a stint in retail. Holidays were not a thing. So, you know, most of those kinds of holidays, I was usually working anyway. So kind of my running joke was always, oh yeah, for Halloween, I'm going as a retail worker, or I'm going as a person working backstage. So, you know, that's always been my thing. I just never really, I'm trying to remember if I've ever actually dressed up for one. I think there was one. I went to a party with some friends, my husband and some friends, and the show True Blood had just started. And I'm a big fan of the original books. So I was super stoked when the series started. And so I think I had gotten one of the t-shirts from the show, like friends don't let friends drink friends or something like that. It said, and so it was like a very subtle vampire where I wore that t-shirt and I had vampire teeth and like a little bit of blood going on. And that was in red lipstick. And that was basically it. That was my vampire costume.
Hey, keep it simple. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. Like, I think half my actor friends love Halloween or obsessed with it, like look forward to it, everything. And the other half are the same way. They're like, I don't need to dress up. Kind of funny.
That is funny. All right, Melanie, what would you dress up as at a Halloween party?
I would recycle my two most recent costumes because like I really didn't like this most. So I have I went as Merida one year, which is like
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I could like because it's like a Ren Fair style dress. It's like that teal dress.
Oh yeah.
Wears, you know, the medieval dress with the. So I could do that again. And then it was actually for a book lovers con. You had to like dress up in a costume, or it encouraged you to. I dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, and then we like went through the French Quarter in New Orleans. Maybe not my best idea, but it was a lot of fun.
You were also definitely not the strangest dressed person, probably.
No,
that
not the
night.
strangest dressed person
No,
by a mile.
probably
That's what I was
not.
like. It's like we were at this event at Book Lovers Con, and then everybody wanted to go out afterwards, and I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Oh my God.
I love that.
some memories,
cool.
that's for sure.
Yeah. Kelly, what would you dress up as?
So the thing that popped in my head was is probably a character from Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
just because that's on my mind. And I just got my hair cut, but it was looking kind of Danny Rojas. So
Jeez.
I think I maybe would have done Danny Rojas, but I think I would do Ted, honestly, because I don't know. There's something fun about just throwing on a ball cap and a fake mustache
Yeah.
and just, being, quipping.
Mhm. I think that's great. I love it.
See Ted Lasso.
Yeah. I feel like we could have a whole other show just talking about Ted Lasso and how wonderful it is.
A TED Talk.
Yeah, there you go. Huh.
Oh my God.
So I always, as you can see, like I have on devil horns. I have about 1 million headbands like this for almost everything. Like a cat, I have like a little witch hat one. I have like a lot of cat ears. I don't know. That's usually what I end up going with and then it's like, then you just put like whiskers on, like very, very simple. I love Halloween, but I'm really not I don't know why I'm so into Halloween, but I really don't care about dressing up. I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, but I was going to be a cat, but I wore these because they show up better against my wallpaper. So
Totally.
Okay, so do we have any audience questions? I have a few more and they're really
some
silly.
audience costumes that they can do. So Robert's going to wear his Spider-Man onesie. So good for you for being
Yes, this is a onesie. So we rock our onesies.
Yeah. And then Danielle says she's going to go as Miss Piggy as Kermit the Frog. So I'm like, that's creative. And she's
Nice.
the Muppets Haunted House movie. I cannot wait to watch that. So it's so we're saving that for like a family movie night because it looks so much fun. But,
Yeah, I think we're trying to save that for Halloween week. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm not seeing any actual questions though.
Okay. I have a couple more and they're, like I said, they're very, very.
One more. Julia Diaz Young says, I would go as a fire emoji.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So my next question, this will be kind of rapid fire, but it's your favorite Halloween candy. So let's really switch it up and have Melanie go first.
Hershey with almonds.
Okay. Jen, how about you?
Reese's peanut butter cups all the way.
Do you like them as the actual cup or do you like it when they're like the bat?
I do like the shapes. I like the pumpkins. I like the Christmas trees.
Yeah.
But honestly, any form that I can get it in is good. We buy way too much, and then 3 kids come to our door, and we've bought 14 bags of candies, and then we have leftovers for us.
Yeah,
that's our usual plan.
That's a solid idea. Kelly, what's your favorite Halloween candy?
Snickers, almond, peanut butter, doesn't matter as long as it's a Snicker.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like Twix. I think they're really good because they have the cookie.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like Twix.
I just saw the Seinfeld episode of that, like recently. Remember the one with George and his Twix?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I know, I don't remember that one. And
it's
I'm
in
like,
the car dealership where the Twix gets stuck in the vending machine and he can't get it out. And then he has the candy lineup to figure out who stole his candy. Like it's.
Oh my God.
That's really funny.
He screams and end up a Twix. Sorry. I just saw it. That's why I mean.
I love it. Okay, so I think it'd be really fun if we talked a bit about some of our favorite like Halloween movies or Halloween media. So does anyone have one that they want to shout out just right away?
Oh my God, my mind went blank. I've got nothing. Let me think about that for a second.
I'm big on ghost hunting TV shows.
Oh.
Like I watch all of them. So I get really excited in October because they like just bring them out again. Like after this, I'm probably going to watch Ghost Hunters from like 2005 and be like, yeah.
I did not know that. very
It's like my guilty pleasure. I love it. I need to write it into a book somehow.
Yeah.
Like a ghost hunting TV show.
I dig.
I do love like early seasons of Supernatural. I haven't watched the entire run of the series. I think I finally bailed somewhere around like season 7 or 8. But I was really into like the early stuff when it was about like urban legends and Americana, you know, like when like the Bloody Mary and the Woman in White and that kind of stuff. That I love that kind of stuff. It's just nice and, you know, nice and spooky, but set in reality, you know. That I was really, really into. I got a little lost when they kind of got into all the angels and demons and all of that kind of folklore that went on as the seasons went on. So I sort of bailed, and I feel like I need to go back and watch the whole thing all over again just to give it a fair shake. But that's something that I've been kind of toying with writing into a book too, is that sort of that sort of ghost hunting type, demon hunting, Americana kind of real haunting type stuff. I love that stuff too.
Yeah, that's really fun. I agree. Those early seasons of Supernatural were really fun. Melanie, do you have a pick?
So my husband loves those slasher ones. He loves the Jason movies, the Halloween movies. Like I will watch them and like make fun of them to like keep myself from being too scared.
Yeah.
But I will say that there was the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween that was terrifying because it was more psychological, like getting into the psychology of Michael Myers and how he became who he was. And that would creep me the hell out. Like if you haven't seen that one, I would say watch that. And I think all of the Netflix movies that they've been doing, The Haunting of Bly Manor, like those have been so good. I really like those.
Yeah. The movie I have to watch every year at least twice, usually more, is the Addams Family. I think it's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what's funny about the Addams Family is that it starts on Christmas in the movie. Like there are carolers that go to their door and then they pour like hot whatever that they out of a cauldron on top of them. But yeah, it sets the tone for it. And I love, this is probably part of why I'm a romance writer but I love how in love Morticia and Gomez are. They are so hot for each other. I love it.
Yeah.
They're so great. So yes, those were, so I think I did see one question come through first, let me say we have some movies: Practical Magic, Hocus Pocus, Rocky Horror. Julia.
Which is that with the twins on Disney Channel?
I don't know, but I've heard my 7-year-old talking about this, like saying we need to watch it. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but okay. And then we did get one question for Jen, and it's from Julia, and it says, does Caitlyn, who is April's daughter, approve of Mitch?
She does. She does.
He was her PE teacher, right?
He's not her teacher. I actually I think I had her specifically say that in the first book, just so
okay, I was trying to remember, like I know he's a PE teacher
just to not make it creepy.
But he was never her teacher.
But, right, exactly. He was a teacher at her school. It's something I will say, I won't go into it too much because it's definitely, you know, it's part of the book, obviously, but you know, April spends a lot of time really fighting her actual feelings and her actual attraction. So, you know, Caitlyn brings it up a couple of times, like, Mom, what's going on here? And April kind of brushes it off. But Caitlyn's approval is definitely extremely necessary and is definitely a part of the story.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so before we kind of wrap things up, and for once, Melanie, we're on time. Like, I'm very proud of us. But before we wrap up, let's go around and let's talk. We have something to plug. Obviously, everyone's got amazing books to talk about. If you have upcoming events, anything you want our fabulous watchers to know about. So Jen, we'll start with you.
Well, I have this book coming out on Tuesday. I don't know. We can maybe talk about that for a change. Well, Match comes out on Tuesday. It's, you know, obviously available to pre-order everywhere. Signed copies are still available through Mostly Books in Tucson, Arizona. We did a pre-order campaign with, you know, signed personalized copies with an art print. I think the art prints are gone. There might be one or two left if you order, but I've definitely personalized. All the personalized ones have gone out, but there are still some signed ones there. And then going forward, I'm always going to have signed books through that bookstore. So if you want to order signed copies of my books, you can get them there. Mostly books in Tucson, Arizona.
Awesome. Yeah. And you sent book plates to Love Sweet Arrow as well.
I sent book plates to Love Sweet Arrow as well. Yes. So you can get some there.
Awesome. Okay. So Kelly, what do you have going on?
I have a book coming out November 2nd. And it's called Unexpected Goals. That's covered. Yeah. It's book 2 in the Out on the Ice series. The first book is Out on the Ice. And they basically, it follows female romances in the women's hockey world. So if you like women's hockey, and actually, if you like enemies to lovers, this is a US Canadian enemies to lovers, which Romancelandia has been looking for. So here it is. And what else I have going? I'm actually taking part in this month's Read Cute virtual event next Saturday at 3:00. Super fun. It's a bunch of sapphic romance authors who we basically just read scenes from our books. And this month's theme is enemies to lovers.
Fun.
So actually, I have like upcoming events on my website. So if anyone is interested, you can go to kellyfarmerauthor.com.
Great.
Page for I was doing that this week because I wanted to make it easy for everybody to find it.
Perfect. Yeah.
And actually, Melanie, do you want me to share my secret present gift that I have? So I for those of you who don't know, Melanie and I were in a play together in 1998 called An Evening with Poe. And I unfortunately don't have, I cannot find my cast picture, but I did manage to pull this gem of Melanie.
Oh boy.
You can see this. Sorry, there we go.
God.
look at Melody. Sorry, there we go. My light was catching it.
That's some great makeup there.
Yeah, so that's Melanie.
I was in the Telltale Heart. Yeah, I was the one that hid the heart under the floorboard.
That's amazing.
Nice.
The hideous heart. And then this is me covered in blood, sticking myself out of the house of Usher.
Wow.
I do like fake blood. This play was pretty fun.
Yeah. It was something else, man. It was we did it was it was like there might be a website somewhere. I'm gonna look.
I'm sure we could find on because this was Center Stage, I think. I'm sure in their archives there's pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love this connection. I think it's so great. Melanie, what do you have going on?
So like we talked about earlier, Tinsel and Tatas is still available through November 5th. So you grab your copy, 18 holiday rom-coms. So lots of fun there. And then I really don't have anything else coming out. Well, I guess I can tell you guys, everyone, not just, so they're up for pre-order now is another anthology. This one, speaking of older heroines, it is Seasoned Romance, and it is called A Season for Love, and it's also up for pre-sale for 99 cents, and it is an anthology, and I have a story in there called That's What She Shed. And it is about
Nice.
a recently divorced woman who is hired a Silver Fox contractor, and he is going to show her how good he is with his tools.
Nice. Nice.
Out in her she shed.
That's what she shed. Yes.
That is amazing. I love it.
She shed her inhibition. She shed her, so it's just fun. And that is up for pre-order now, and it comes out March 1st. So, and Jen and I will be together on Wednesday. We're going to do what I do Mad About Meet Cutes on Instagram. It's a fun little author chat. Usually we do them on Sundays, but Jen and I are going to do it Wednesday afternoon. So we're going to have a nice little, I wouldn't call it a nooner, but we're going to have
an afternoon delight.
Nice little afternoon chat on Instagram Live, talking about how Jen met her in real life Hero and other meet cute stories. We'll post about that. So if you could find it, and you can join us on Instagram.
Awesome. Okay, so I mentioned this last month, but my author website is finally live, everyone. It's DanielleBooks.com. Please go there and look at it. There's not much up yet. I can't share my.
I signed up for your newsletter.
I did, and I'm very thankful. Yes, I have an author newsletter. I haven't sent it out yet, but also follow me on social media because on Tuesday I may or may not have pre-order links.
Oh, I thought cover reveal.
No, not a cover reveal yet, but my book will be supposedly, in theory, on Tuesday. It will be up for.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. So yes, that's what I have going on. Just silently freaking out over here. Not so silently, I think you can all tell. But anyway, this has been so much fun. I love
next month we have Denise Williams is coming. Denise Williams.
Oh, Denise is awesome.
Yes, and November 19th, and Angelina will be back. But Kelly, thank you so much for filling in. You've been awesome, an awesome co-host. Jen, of course, we loved having you on the show. It's been so great.
Thank you.
I know. So everyone remember, head to lovesweetarrow.com.
I gotta pick the winner.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Melanie, thank you.
Pick your winner.
Pick your winner.
She's a room mom for a reason.
I know. She's on it.
Julia Diaz-Young.
Amazing. Yay. Okay, so Julia, email boozybookbroads@gmail.com and we will get your gift card to you promptly. We're very on top of that. Like we do it right because it's fun. We love to do the giveaway. So everyone head to lovesweetarrow.com. You can find information about everyone's books there. The merch of the month is the blind date surprise boxes for 10% off through this weekend. Use the code BBBOCT discount. And it'll be a lot of fun. I think it's such a fun idea. Just get like a box of surprise books. I think that's like my dream. I'm probably gonna order one. It's great. Yeah, and definitely always follow Love Sweet Arrow on all of their socials because they have a lot of events coming up. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more holiday events coming up because, it's October, we start talking about Christmas. So that's what we do.
Pretty much the day after Halloween, it's Christmas time. Yep.
Yeah, basically, like in my house, that is what happens.
Yeah.
So this was great. I had a great time talking with all of you. So let's do a little cheers before we sign off officially. So cheers everyone.